All right, welcome to our daily trade recap and market review for Monday, July 31st, last day of the trading month. Let's take a look at the markets and see what happened today. All right, taking a look at SPY, what we have up on the screen right now. SPY had a slight up day, up 0.2% on the day. Still an up day overall. It looked a little weak early on and then rallied towards the close a bit to close up a little bit. So what do we see? I mean, if we're looking at this weekly chart here, it is just a march higher that is just not really taking much of a break. So we had another higher close today. RSI on the weekly way oversold at one of the highest levels, but we're at a high and RSI is at a high. So let's see what happens. MACD, little bit of a tightening here today. So let's see if MACD starts to weaken. We really need this thing to pull back just to give us some chance to get back into some trades. There's a lot of good trades out there, but I think we need a pullback. I'm just not willing to buy into anything right now. We're just too overextended. There are some plays, but not a ton of trades out there. And we'll cover a couple of these today. So there's the weekly. And if we look at the daily chart here, daily, the RSI is not making newer highs. So this is RSI is really the fourth highest RSI reading, and it's the highest close we've had this year. So the daily is telling us a little bit weaker story that even though we're going higher, we are just running out of steam on this move. Now, MACD has gone negative. We'll see what happens on the MACD. It is definitely a bit overdone here, but moving averages are stacked. We're still in a bullish PSR signal. We are off the highs of the ATR and the Bollinger Band, so there is a little more room to the upside. We'll see what happens in SPY. I just don't like where we are. It doesn't mean we can't go higher. I just don't think getting long here makes a ton of sense, at least not to get long a lot. I mean, it doesn't mean that you should miss out on any of these up moves either, though. Just don't go crazy. Be smart about the whole thing. Here on the Qs today, so the Qs ended up slightly on the day as well, 0.05%, almost a nothing day on the Qs. So we're starting another week here on the Qs, and you got RSI not hitting new highs and hasn't on the weekly for quite a while, and the MACD has been tailing off now 2 weeks in a row, with this week being a third week potentially. Maybe we're running out of steam on tech. We're going to see. We got most of the earnings in, but Apple is to come as well. If we take a look over here at the daily chart on it, you got MACD actually reversing a bit higher. So after this thing, came up, came down, didn't quite hit the 21 EMA, but that's all good. It really bounced off of this and is making new highs. And you're right at this PSAR bullish reversal signal. So if we get higher tomorrow, if we can break today's highs of the day tomorrow, we should get a bullish PSAR signal. So nothing, again, nothing making me want to go get super long, but also nothing making me want to get super short. I just think a pullback is needed. Now, it may have had one, and maybe it's now up for the next leg higher. It has potentially some room to go, and it could stay overbought quite a ways. If we take a look at IWM in here as well, let's see if we can just zoom in a bit on this thing. So as we're looking at IWM on the weekly, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 straight weeks, 5 out of 6 that have been up weeks, 6 out of 7, 7 out of 6 out of 7, 7 out of 9, something along those lines. So just a huge up move. Now you're getting back into this area of potential resistance up here. Looking at this area, let's extend this all the way to today and into tomorrow. So we're right up at this resistance level here, but MACD still powering higher. and RSI still powering higher, not technically to an over bought territory. So I think you got some more room to go on IWM. If we look at the daily version of this as well, you got RSI making a move back up, and MACD trying to separate again and make a new high as we hit a new short-term high in the markets. And Bollinger Band still pointing up, ATR, 3 ATR still pointing up. I mean, I still think you got room to go. I mean, we can definitely go up a couple more points in IWM and maybe more. So there's good bullish news on that. Let's take a look at some of the futures in here on oil. We had a decent update today on oil and setting some newer highs. Got Bollinger Bands opening up here on the weekly, which is also a very bullish looking sign. You had PSAR reversal back here from Friday. So this thing is looking pretty solid. MACD rising, RSI rising. I think oil has some more room to go to the upside. And then if we look at the daily charts here as well, you've got just continued hammering higher on oil as oil is just taking off. It's rallied all the way from this base around 67 all the way up to 81, almost 82 now, heading back into these more recent highs from April. So there's our next area to watch, is somewhere around this 83 move. Now we are at the 3 ATR. Bollinger Bands, we're not quite there, but we are at the 3 ATR. So we are a bit extended on these. We are a ways away from the 21 EMA as well. Would love to see oil come back in, test that, and then it can do whatever it wants. But let's see if we get any kind of a break on oil here. Otherwise, we're doing well on our trades, and I just put on a new trade today in oil. I put on a new 112 in oil today to take advantage of this up move, and if we drop back a bit, that'll even be better for us. Taking a look at gold. Gold is making another rally move here. You've had gold up 1, 2, well, we won't count that one, but really 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5 straight weeks of up gold as we move through here. So we've been up, came back a little bit, did break back down through the 21 EMA on the dailies, but back up through the 50 and the 21. You got the 21 now breaking above the 50 exponential moving averages, and we're heading higher on gold. Strong MACD, good RSI, and you see the MACD reversing here on the weekly and the RSI up. So gold also looking pretty bullish. I think it's setting up for a nice 112 trade on gold. It is getting a little extended, but we'll see what happens on gold. It's all good right now. Bonds, we've been just watching what's going to happen in bonds. Are we going to just keep sinking, or is this a time to potentially start to get long? I'm still very bullish on getting long bonds in here. The Fed is close to done. Maybe they've got another rate hike left in them. I don't know. Maybe November, as everyone's thinking. I don't know why we're waiting till November, but maybe maybe November as everyone's thinking on these things. Let's see what happens on bonds, but I don't think you can go wrong getting long in here for the longer term. Now, MACD is negative and dropping, and RSI is continuing to drop. So I don't know that you've seen the whites of the bonds eyes yet, and it's not time to necessarily pull the trigger big time to get long, but I think you can definitely take a look as we bounce through this channel on bonds here, and up, down, hit it, back to hitting it, back to hitting it, back to hitting it. So we'll see, do we fall down here into the 121 range or not? You got the Bollinger Band definitely opening up to the downside, and you've got a weak MACD, and RSI is falling, but not overdone yet. So I think you could still have a little more pullback on bonds, but I think when you're starting to look at longer term leaps and stuff like that, I would be looking to go long on something like a TLT here, which you're down at this, you got this descending triangle here. or potentially if you want to, even get into TMF a bit here. I think this is also a good, if you want to get the triple leveraged TMF, I think that's a good opportunity on bonds. Soybeans, which we have some trades in, we're still in this overall descending triangle that you have going on here. Dropped off pretty good the last couple trading set weeks. And then you've got, again, these big couple drops. Little thin structure, as we have some pretty big down days. We've already filled most of this gap, but we didn't get the whole gap. So you're leaving gaps on these moves in soybeans. MACD, though, on the daily, flipping negative. RSI heading lower. We're still not oversold here on RSI, so I think soybeans can go further. How we've been playing it is that we have a couple 1-1-2 trades on. We've already closed the naked puts on one of these on soybeans. The other one's sitting around 90% winner right now. So we'll play it by ear on soybeans, but I think it's also a good opportunity to look to do something, another 1-1-2 or something here. I do not think I would be playing strangles with this potential bottom falling out of soybeans at this time. I'd like to see something start to stabilize in soybeans. In that gas, it's just been heading lower and lower and lower consistently here. However, over the last several weeks, you've got this little uptrend starting to work in here. So we'll see how this looks when we get into it. But I think overall, there's some opportunity here for getting a little bit longer in that gas. I think you've got a very tight Bollinger Band, and you've got the ATRs tightening. So you are getting ready for potentially a squeeze type of play. We'll see what happens overall in this. But if we look at MACD, it's starting to curl higher. RSI is just dead center. And if we look at the weekly, you do have MACD still weak, but RSI climbing a tad. So really mixed signals. I think you could potentially even put on a strangle here. I like the 1-1-2 trades on in that gas. We've got one right now that's up 178% in 35 days. So we're doing fantastic playing nat gas, but you could get long a strangle. I just don't know that I want to be in it all the way to the usual 50%, maybe take it off early. And then the Aussie dollar had a nice bounce today on it. US dollar, kind of just moved a little bit higher on the day. But when we look at the Aussie dollar, you had a little bit of a bounce back into the center here. We've got some trades on in the Aussie dollar. I've got a strangle for November, which is up 19% in 10 days already, as a good place, I think, for a strangle. And you've got this triangle that you're really starting to get into, and it's starting to squeeze tighter and tighter and tighter on the Aussie dollar. So you can see Bollinger Bands moving in, getting tighter. You're right at these really tight moving averages in here on the Aussie dollar. So, could go either way, up or down. We'll keep an eye on that. But right now, it's a great strangle trade for us. On the British pound, you were a little bit more bullish, and this thing's moving higher. We can see it continually bouncing off either the 21 or this 50 EMA. So let's see what happens. MACD's maybe starting to improve on it. You are tightening on the Bollinger Bands a bit. So we'll see what happens. Do we get a little bit longer on the British pound? And then if we take a quick look here at the euro as well. So as we're looking at the euro futures, this thing just continues to march a bit higher here on the weeklies. Nice pullback in here. MACD getting a little bit weaker, but we'll keep an eye on this pullback and see if 6E can make could just kind of stay in this range. I think Bollinger Bands are starting to tighten, so this could be a good spot to consider a strangle on the 6E. If we take a look at lean hogs, the continuous livestock is going bonkers. So You got lean hogs just rocketing to the upside. And you've also got livestock or live cattle here, which had really made a giant move up to the upside week after week after week, finally getting some pullback and a little bit of a rest in here. And then maybe now we might bounce off this 21 and make our move higher. So we'll keep an eye on where things land. In fact, I probably will get rid of this. These pieces here don't have as much to do with anything anymore. And we'll see if live cattle keeps moving forward. It's getting a lot tighter in this Bollinger Band. I'm not sure that I would do a strangle, but we do have a new strangle, but I do have a strangle I put on 10 days ago. That strangle is up 36% in the last 10 days. We took a loss on one during this whole giant up move. We did lose on a strangle, getting our call side stopped out. And instead of trying to adjust it, I just let it end. And then I put another strangle on up here about 10 days ago, as I thought Bollinger Bands might be starting to come in, which is perfect for that strangle. So you should see a little less volatility as Bollinger Bands move in, which is perfect time to do strangles. All right, I know we're covering a lot of trades. XLK Tech had a small update today. XLY also, Tesla and Amazon in here, starting to look like it wants to make another move higher on the daily for sure. Weaker on the weekly, so very mixed signals on it. But you got Bollinger Bands pulling in a tad, so you could get a little bit of a squeeze and a breakout here on XLY. So keep an eye on Tesla and Amazon. Financials today, just a small update. As this thing continues to make its decent little move higher, had a little pullback, which is good. Weekly looks fairly strong still, but we're bumping up against some of these downtrends on it. So are we going to continue to make a higher high, a higher high, a higher high, and then, potentially, depending on where you want to look at it, higher lows here as well? So financials doing well. Maybe due for a little pullback and then makes a move higher on financials. XLE had a fantastic day, almost 2% up today. We had a leap put close out on XLE. So XLE is doing very, very well. Look over on the daily here. We're getting a little overdone, but MACD, RSI moving higher. And on the weekly, you've got a great looking MACD. You're about to cross the 0 line on the MACD line as well. And you've got 3 days of increasing on the histogram. RSI's climbing. You've got bullish PSAR signals on both the weekly and the daily. You've got really good looking XLE charts here. So might even be starting to get a little overextended, and maybe a pullback to the 21 or the 50 would be good to make the next move higher. But XLE doing fantastic. And then a couple quick stocks. Amazon getting a little tighter. If you can look at the symmetrical triangle that you got going on here, one with the bottom line quite a ways out. You broke above that today. MACD reversing, RSI climbing higher. Even though the weekly is looking like it's getting a little weak in here, the daily, you could see some more upside on Amazon. So Amazon looks good. Apple is heading into earnings. So we got earnings on the 3rd after the market. So earnings are coming up in a couple of days, 3 more days on Apple, but this thing's just tearing up into earnings, just stair-stepping its way higher. Looks good to go. And then Tesla, I know there's a bunch of other trades we can get to. We're not going to cover them all. Tesla is just kind of stagnating in here right now, taking a nice little rest after this run it made. This is a beautiful thing. This is a higher low after multiple higher highs. And you got MACD starting to curl. RSI could make another run back up. It's right at 50. And even though the weekly looks like a little momentum's coming out, the daily could be just resting a bit, ready to make another move higher. And we are in Tesla as well with some leap puts that are up 8% now in 10 days on Tesla. And that's without this, that's with it moving down and sideways. If this thing starts to move up, our leap puts will close quickly on that. And then we also did put on a trade in Oxy. today. So we got an Oxy trade that we got into, just taking advantage of this move higher. This weekly looks fantastic, just like XLE, and moving higher. So good looking stuff here. A number of stocks. I think we're also going to take a look at getting into some of these other. Zscaler looks good. Also, Zoom is one I'm keeping an eye on. So I'm thinking of looking at some leaps in Zoom here. Weekly looking pretty good. A little weak here, but looking pretty good on these lows. There's some support down here. And then the daily looks like it's getting ready to move a bit more after these pullbacks to the 21 and the 50, stair-stepping higher. Bollinger Band's opening up. I think we've got some movement. Oops, that's still Zscaler. I thought we had Zoom in there, and we did not. So Zoom. So Zoom on this lower, move off of this big, long support level that we've been building in here on Zoom. I like the way the MACD is moving and the RSI on the weekly on Zoom. I think this is a low risk trade to get long, especially leaps here. And we keep butting up against this same resistance level here several days in a row. But MACD getting stronger, RSI getting stronger. Bollinger Bands opening up here on this move, and we could get a PSR reversal. So I think Zoom's the next leap put we're going to get long on. All right, so I know I've just spent a good amount of time covering some of the different pieces here that we're in, but I want to get to the ending trades that we had for today and show you where we ended up the month as well. So let's jump into that and take a look. So today, 731, our delta ended up minus 28. Totally fine on the delta. We got slight negative delta. Our theta is hanging right around that 700 mark, 0.25. Still a little bit low. See what happens. Netlick moved up again today. New all-time highs in the portfolio. BPUs ticked up. We did add a bunch of trades today. We added 2 leap puts today. We added some and a SPY leap as well today. So we added some. We added some trades today in the trading account, and we also put on some futures trades as well. So BPUs 51%. It's all good. We did close out $2,140 worth of trades today, giving us a nice month. 19,790 was our realized gain on the month. Not sure why this one. Oh, I see why. Okay, 84, a little error in the formula here. So we had a nice 7.1% return that's realized. The actual net lick increase was 7,000, which is almost 3%, which is our monthly goal overall. But our goals is to make and bring home over 3% a month, and we knocked out 7% this month. So fantastic month, one of our bigger months. Second biggest month of the year so far. January was number 1 at 20,000 and change, so just shy of it. And let's take a look at what happened in the account today. So in the account today, we had a number of things happen. So first trade down here was we closed the naked puts of a 112 trade, 95% on those. So we've locked in a 94% winner. We took in $2,340 in P&L on this trade. So we've locked that in, reduced our BP. We also had one of our hedges expire today. So we had this 4370 put that we bought as a hedge. So we lost a little bit on that hedge. And then we also had this SPX butterfly hedge come off for a loser today. They both expired, which is all good. We had the PDS part of a long-term 112 that we had already taken back on 627. We had already closed out the naked puts, so that was just a PDS expired today. I don't count those as wins or losses. We also had an XLE leap expire today on this move. So that was a nice $220 gain. 30%, which was a 7.3% return on capital in that particular trade today. And then we had a big ass 112 hedge trade. We had already closed out for a small winner. We'd already closed out the naked puts on this. We just had a pretty big trap here that expired today. So overall on the day, we had a really great day. Another $2,140 to the good. And if we take a look at the entire month, again, 19,788 was our realized gains. We won 32 trades, lost 6 for an 84% win rate. So fantastic month for the main trading portfolio. Added some new trades. So excited to see where we go. All right, there's our market wrap and our monthly wrap for the main trading account. We'll do the small accounts, which had a phenomenal month in the small account, and we had a great month in the IRA as well. So fantastic month, new all-time highs in the portfolio, 7% gains in realized income for the month. I hope you guys got a lot out of this session today. Keep trading. If you like what you see, please like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. We'll post a lot more stuff coming up. Click on those notifications so you know when I'm posting. And you guys have a great and profitable rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.